And the question is, what is important to me? Is it something that I can live with? Is it something that when I'm lying on the deathbed, I can say I made the right decision? It was a no. So even the time when my marriage was ending, I just knew at that point it was a defining moment to say, what are you going to choose? Are you going to allow the wound of being married, which at times for people it's just like for survival, for some people it's just for status, position, however that they're perceived in the society. What is it that you really stand by? What is more important for you? And for me, it was a situation where I was separated from my children, where it's kind of like, let's just leave them there. For you, it might be you being in a relationship where there is toxicity, whether it's financial abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, but you still stand for that. Even though you know, as much as you may be using your children as an excuse to say that I'm doing that for the children because I want them to have both parents, but you know the damage that you are doing to those children. It might be a workplace, whether it's business career, where it's toxic. You don't even have the time for you to be with those you love. That alone, you don't even have time for yourself. And what about your health even? Because it's quite interesting because it still connect with something that I reflected on again today, where I still remember when my daughter was 4 months old. And I was working day and night, at times coming home at 2 a.m. I used to be an accountant, by the way, for some of you who do not know. So I remember one day I went for lunch and then I left my bag in the car. Yeah, deliberately, strategic move. I left it in the car. And my intention was, after hours, I'm going to leave. So I remember when I left the office vividly, and I got into the elevator and immediately I switched off my phone. I got into the car and I drove and I went home. And tomorrow I was called for a hearing. But when I look at it, at that moment, that's what I needed because I was breastfeeding on top of that. So sometimes we find ourselves in positions where we feel like we don't have any choice, and you may not have a choice, as in like that's the culture that is in that organization, but at the end of the day, what are you doing about it? If you sit there and you complain about it and you talk about it and you bond about that with your colleagues, about that with your friends, whether it's talking about your partner or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, because misery loves company. Often we find ourselves with people where we can say we've been friends for years, but at the end of the day, your friendship and whatever that is binding you is because you come together in misery. Oh, he did that, she did that. Oh, you talk about your boss and all that. What the fuck are you doing about it?